There's a moment every man remembers, the moment he realizes his life has quietly unraveled, thread by thread, while he wasn't even watching. For Brandon Miller, that moment came on a sunny Thursday afternoon. Flowers in one hand, his wife's favorite pastries in the other, he turned the key in the door of the apartment he shared with the woman he had once believed to be his soulmate, only to walk into a nightmare he never saw coming. But this wasn't just a story of infidelity. No. This was something deeper, something twisted. Because the man in his bed wasn't a stranger. He was the one person Brandon had been told, repeatedly, was practically family. Even his mother-in-law called him her son. And yet, there he was. Brandon had met Emily through a college friend. At first glance, she hadn't stood out. She was polite, soft-spoken, and didn't seem particularly interested in him. But fate threw them back together at a mutual friend's charity event a few weeks later. And this time, Emily was radiant. Her laughter bubbled easily. She talked books, music, the little oddities of life, things Brandon hadn't connected over with anyone in years. He fell, fast and hard. Within a month, he had proposed in the middle of a rainy bookstore parking lot, soaked and breathless. She said yes like it had been written in the stars. They had a small, intimate wedding, with fairy lights and vintage vinyl playing in the background. Emily's mother cried. Her dad shook Brandon's hand like he'd just handed him a national treasure. And everything seemed perfect. For a while. Before the wedding, Emily introduced Brandon to her extended family, including a man named Ryan. She was vague about how they were related, some distant cousin, but her mother called Ryan her other son. And the way Emily lit up around him? Brandon took note. Ryan was charming, sure, easygoing, always around. He and Emily did everything together, yoga, coffee runs, grocery shopping. She'd talk about him constantly, laughing over inside jokes and stories from their childhood. Brandon would bite his tongue at first, but the 1000th time she chirped his name, he couldn't help but snap. Is there anything you don't do with Ryan? Emily always smiled. He's like a brother. Don't be ridiculous. But it didn't sit right with Brandon. Especially since her two sisters, who were otherwise kind, openly despised Ryan. They avoided him, rolled their eyes when he came up, and once, at Thanksgiving, one of them muttered, "Some people never learn," when Ryan walked in. When Brandon asked Emily about it, she shrugged it off. Said the sisters were just jealous of their bond. Still, Brandon tried to be the bigger man. He told himself it was just his ego, that Emily deserved to have close friendships. But deep inside, something gnawed at him. Then things got even worse. Brandon's job at a construction firm went into crisis mode when a fire broke out at a major project site. He started working 12 to 14-hour days, trying to meet deadlines, putting out figurative fires alongside the literal ones. His marriage slipped quietly into the background. He barely saw Emily, maybe in the mornings as she brushed her hair, or at night when she was already curled up asleep. He hated it. But he didn't know how to fix it. One morning, on autopilot, he walked into the kitchen and spotted 2 used wine glasses on the counter. Had someone over? He asked casually. Emily didn't miss a beat. Ryan dropped by. We were celebrating, he got promoted. Can you believe it? The words hit him like a punch. Ryan again. Always Ryan. Still, Brandon bit his tongue. He was exhausted and knew he hadn't been present lately. Maybe it was good she wasn't alone. Maybe. But the thought of them sipping wine in his living room while he broke his back at work made his stomach turn. A few days later, one of his co-workers pulled him aside. Hey, man, don't take this the wrong way, but, you sure there's nothing going on between your wife and that Ryan guy? Brandon laughed at first. Then he didn't. Because the seed was planted. He went home and started noticing things, patterns, glances, absences. Then, one night, it happened. He was tossing a load of laundry into the washer when a pair of unfamiliar men's underwear dropped from the basket. They weren't his. He held them like they were radioactive. Emily, he called out. Whose are these? Oh, Ryan's, she said with a shrug. His machine broke, so he asked to do some laundry here. You think that's normal? Brandon's voice cracked. I told you I didn't like this. And now his clothes are in our laundry. His family, she shouted back. I wasn't about to turn him away. That night, Brandon didn't sleep in their bed. He couldn't. For the first time since they'd been married, he took a pillow and blanket to the couch. The silence between them grew thick and suffocating. Emily tried to mend things the next morning with coffee and an awkward smile, but Brandon's heart was already sinking. 3 months passed. Work continued to demand him, but his marriage haunted him like a storm cloud. He couldn't shake the image of those wine glasses, those underwear, the constant giggles and secrets she shared with Ryan. Then, a miracle, he got a day off. Finally, Brandon decided to surprise Emily. He grabbed her favorite pastries and a bouquet of tulips. She said she'd be home all day. He was smiling for the first time in weeks. Until he pulled into their parking lot and saw Ryan's car. He stood there for a full minute, gripping the steering wheel so hard his knuckles turned white. He walked in quietly. The door was unlocked. No TV, no music, no chatter. Just faint sounds, coming from the bedroom. The second he heard the bed creaking, his heart stopped. Then it started racing. He dropped everything. Threw the door open. And froze. Ryan. Emily. Tangled. Skin on skin. Her face twisted in shock. Ryan's eyes wide with fear. Time slowed. Then Brandon exploded. He lunged, throwing Emily off the bed. She hit the floor hard and started sobbing. Brandon turned on Ryan, landing punches so fast and furious they barely had time to register. Blood. Screams. Fury. The next day, Ryan limped to Emily's parents' house, trying to explain. But Brandon had already been there. He sat on their couch and told them everything. Emily's mother cried like someone had died. Her father couldn't speak, only patted Brandon's shoulder and looked away. They told Emily never to come back. She moved in with Ryan. But the fairy tale ended there. Within 2 years, Ryan left her. Said he was marrying someone else. Alone, disgraced, and bitter, Emily moved from rental to rental, desperate to find work, to feel human again. But she never did. Because no job could replace the family she lost, or the love she destroyed. Brandon, meanwhile, never looked back.